You know, my mission with this channel has always been to share with you what I love. That's been my top priority from day one.
However,
I don't always share everything. Why? Because there are some fragrances that I simply don't want y'all to know about. These are my precious jewels that I keep in my treasure chest, in my secret chambers, inside of my secret fortress. You'll never find them unless I choose to show them to you. I am sharing them with you today because I ran out of video ideas.
Oh, brother, this guy's...
I've had these for a while and I've not put them in any reviews for no good reason at all. So let's dive right into it. No particular order here. I've been getting to know this brand through a discovery set, and I got a bottle not long after getting to know all the fragrances. I have to say that this brand has surprised me greatly. I've enjoyed every single one of their fragrances. There's so much depth, there's so much evolution and interest and uniqueness, but wearability, accessibility, and approachability. Coming from Adamo, this is simply called One. Look at that bottle. Awesome design. This particular collection from the brand was all perfumed by one of the most in-demand perfumers today, Christian Provenzano. This dude is everywhere. When I first sprayed this on, I thought it was one thing and then it totally changed. Oh my gosh. This is so rich and slightly powdery, sweet and spicy and floral off the top. I could have sworn I was smelling iris, a slightly powdery, rooty iris or orris note that was a little bit sweet, a little bit rich, almost syrupy in a way, but with a nice warm base. But as it dried, that iris, what I thought was iris, totally disappears. Turns out there is no iris in here. You have a bit of rum at the top, which really sings. It's this beautiful, rich booziness off the top, freshened with a little bit of bergamot. But the heart of heliotrope and violet is really what gives this fragrance its personality. It is kind of creamy, floral, powdery, sweet. I would say it gets less powdery as it dries down. So if you're afraid of powdery scents, don't worry. This is not a powdery fragrance, but it does have a pretty strong powdery nuance to it that lasts for a little bit. And as it dries, you have amber and vanilla and patchouli and labdanum. It gets warm, a little bit resinous, stays pretty sweet and dark. And it smells so luxurious. This smells expensive. It's such a beautiful wearing experience. I can't even explain it to you. It lasts all day for me until the next day. It evolves little by little as it dries on the skin. There's so much depth and dimension here. It is fully three-dimensional. It is a joy to wear. It's so elegant. I could go on and on. I'll be talking about this brand more. I have another bottle from them that they call Two, which is also spectacular. I'll talk about that some other time. But for the time being, if you are interested in checking out Adamo, they are being really generous right now. Their discovery set is available for you to get for free. You just have to cover the cost of shipping. Use the code Justin when you go to their website and check out. Grab you a discovery set, check out the first 3 fragrances that are available now. Again, you just pay shipping. The next one up here has an interesting name to it because it translates, if I'm not mistaken, to an interesting word. This is called Pastichio from Sospiro. If I'm not mistaken, when I looked it up, Pastichio translates to mess. Now they are referring to something dealing with music, dealing with the orchestra. This entire collection deals with that. I don't know exactly what they mean by that. The only thing I can think of is if you've ever been to an orchestral concert, when the orchestra is warming up prior to the concert master seizing control of the orchestra before the conductor comes out and they begin, everyone is warming up. It is a sonic mess. It's beautiful though. There's so many indecipherable sounds happening all at once. So if that's what they're going for, I would say they achieved it here, but this does not come off messy. If you look at the note breakdown of this, it does look like a mess. Look at this. It's like every floral known to man. But how does it actually smell? It smells kind of creamy, almondy, fresh, powdery, sweet. Honestly, a little bit reminiscent of Pegasus from Parfums Numero. It doesn't smell exactly like that, but that's the closest thing I can tie it to. There's something else it reminds me of that I've been smelling since I've been wearing this over the past couple months, and I can't quite place it yet. Once it comes to me, I will let you know. But it is a beautiful scent, and the funny thing is, also perfumed by Christian Provenzano. Again, busy guy. It's a beautiful mess. It's kind of like life. Pastichio, worth a sample. This one is for the cherry lovers out there. This is called Cherry Punk from room 1015. It is cherry. Yes, indeed. It's kind of a liqueur-like cherry, but with a pretty hefty sweet backbone of leather. Leather adding a nice texture to the scent, so it actually doesn't smell overly edible. It doesn't smell like a gourmand type of cherry. It's not really all that syrupy, but it is kind of dense. I think the leather makes it a little bit more dense. There is a softness to it, maybe from like some mimosa. Overall, it's a pretty simple fragrance. Doesn't really change that much on my skin other than becoming a little bit more leathery. Kind of a softer leather, but not an elegant one. This is more like comfortable leather couch in the green room of a music venue that has been sat on and slept on by lots of musicians. Again, it's comfortable, but it's not necessarily the most posh or elegant type of profile, and I think the name perfectly suits that. Cherry Punk. When I first smelled this fragrance, to be honest, I was a little disappointed. First thing that came to mind was Creed Aventus. I'm like, okay, another Creed adjacent fragrance. And honestly, I still kind of stand by that. It is a little Aventus adjacent. However, it does kind of have its own thing, and I've enjoyed the experience wearing it. From Commodity, they call this Moss Plus. Now, this comes from a collection where each fragrance has several renditions depending on the type of presence you want to have, from something very, very light and intimate to something more bold. This basically smells like they took the mossy element out of Aventus, extracted it as its own thing, gave it a bit of a freshness, made it a little green, woody, and musky. That's about it. There's nothing sweet about this or fruity about this, or really all that warm. It is mostly fresh, green, woody, musky, mossy. It's simple, doesn't really change. It can function well as a signature scent or something that's just easy to spray on that you don't have to think about. I was wondering if this plus moniker would really apply, like how much are they really trying to market performance and fragrance, which is always iffy to me because they present it as a guarantee, which it's not really a thing. But I can say that, yeah, I was getting some good performance out of this. It was radiating around me. Even after 5-6 hours, I'm smelling it pretty strongly around me. And also, I've gotten compliments while wearing this after several hours of wear on the skin. So simple, but pleasant, easy to wear, and interesting enough. But sample first. This next fragrance is also perfectly named. The name here just resonates. It makes sense. This is called Black Sand from Blackcliff Parfums. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't remember anything that's in here. I don't know the notes, so I'm going to just try to explain this to you based on what it actually smells like. How can I paint this picture? Imagine you are at the foot of a volcano that has erupted weeks ago. So no imminent danger here, no magma flows, but there is still this heat, there's this resonance, there's this warmth, there's a dryness, almost like sand. There's a dark black feeling, almost like a smoky feel, but there's something kind of sticky, sweet resonance inside of this dry black smoky sand. That's the best way I can describe it. It's very potent. It's also pretty dark in color, so it will stain if you're not careful. Not black by any means, but it's dark. Really interesting stuff. I have not smelled anything quite like this, and that goes for just about every fragrance with this brand. They blow me away. Some of you may not consider all their fragrances totally wearable. I totally understand. Sample first for that reason. This is true niche stuff. Blackcliff Parfums Black Sand. And finally, a few months ago, I did a video in which I featured a riddle about a particular fragrance. Some of you might remember that, some of you might not. If you don't, it's fine, it doesn't matter. The answer was already revealed because it was a little giveaway put out by Fragrance Buy. But I realized I never personally followed up about the riddle. I never said what the fragrance was, and I have yet to feature it in any videos until right now. From the house of Casamorati, which is essentially under the Xerjoff umbrella, the Xerjoff universe. This is called 1888. Some of you did actually guess it right when you put it in your comment on the video. This is a fragrance that's not for everyone. Kind of a sweet, warm carnation fragrance. Carnation is this very particular spicy type of floral that is typically known to be used in a lot of older style men's fragrances, especially ones from the late 80s, early 90s, and maybe even earlier than that. Carnation was used pretty heavily at the heart of these fragrances. So it does have a bit of this old-fashioned feel. If you have no association with those fragrances, then this may mean nothing to you, which is great because you can go in with a blank slate. This is warm, sweet, spicy amber wrapped around fresh, spicy carnation flower. There's more florals in the heart that just make it a little bit more florally opulent. Is florally a word? Maybe, maybe not. But this is kind of a posh scent. This is more upscale. This is a little bit more mature. I would wear this mainly in the evening time when it's not too warm. It's also quite powerful, I found in my wearing experience, but it smells so elegant. If you get this or you get a sample of it, you spray it on your skin or spray it on paper and smell it up close, you might not like it. It may not smell like anything you've smelled before, but if you give it that full wearing, you get the way it behaves in the air, you get that sillage. There's something magnetic about it, and also again, so luxurious. So if you're looking for a very masculine floral scent that is kind of a bit of a standout scent, this is one to check out. That is 1888 from Casamorati. All right, that's it. Want to know what you think of these fragrances? Have you tried any of them? I have a feeling there's at least a couple on here that none of you have tried. I just have a feeling, and if so, you're welcome. I'm sharing my treasure with you. Use it wisely. There will be links down in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.